Hi, I'm Christine from Christine's Natural Kitchen, and today I'm going to show you how to make some fun DIY Valentine's Day gifts for your sweetheart. All of these ingredients are from Basil Bandwagon Natural Market. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make your own vegan white chocolate hearts, which looks really cute in a little pretty heart-shaped box. I'm also going to show you how to make your own bath bombs, which are always beautiful and fun, using essential oils. And I'm going to show you how to make a very easy herb-infused massage oil. So first off, we're making a vegan white chocolate. This is a really fun one. And for this, the main ingredient is this Sunfood brand organic cacao butter. And you can see it looks like banana slices. It's like little coins of the cacao butter. And we're gonna melt that down. And what we have here is 6 ounces of the cacao butter. We're also gonna be using some vegan vanilla protein powder, and we have 1/3 cup of that. Then we also have some pretty red colored dried fruit here. This is the Honestly cranberry, dried cranberries, and we've got a couple tablespoons of those. Also for decoration on the top, we've got some hemp hearts and a couple tablespoons of those too. And some chopped up goji berries, and that's also 2 tablespoons. So that'll look really pretty on the top for decoration. And we also have about a 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. Sorry, that's a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. We've got a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then for sweetener, we're gonna be using some SweetLeaf sweet drops. This is the vanilla cream flavor. And you can just use this kind of to taste. So it's really just either a few drops for this amount of the recipe, or you can use even up to a 1/2 teaspoon. You just don't wanna use too much because it could get bitter. I also have this silicone heart-shaped mold to make fun little shapes, but if you don't have this, that's fine. You can also make bark, where you just line an 8x8 pan with some parchment paper and just make a flat sheet of it and then break it up into pieces like that. That's fine, but otherwise, if you wanna make some fun little shapes, you can get a silicone mold like this. You'll also want some fun and festive packaging, so I have this little box with tissue all ready to go for the finished chocolate. So what I have here is kind of a makeshift double boiler. Most people don't even own double boilers, myself included. All you need to do is put 1 inch of water in a pan like this and then put a metal bowl on top of it, and you've got a DIY double boiler. Once the bowl's nice and hot, I'm gonna go ahead and add my 6 ounces of the cacao. Starting to get a little shiny already. It's gonna soften up and become completely liquid. Now that the cacao is pretty much melted, I'm going to add my 1/3 cup of the vanilla protein powder, the vanilla extract, sea salt, and just a few drops of the stevia. Like I said, this is to taste and you don't want to add too much. I'm going to whisk that together, but if you have lumps and it needs to be more incorporated, you can always use an immersion blender. This looks pretty smooth, but just to be on the safe side, I'm gonna put it into a stainless steel cup and blend it a couple times with the immersion blender. You have to work fast. You know, if your kitchen is cool or you have marble countertops like these, it can start to set up already, so work fast. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this hot mixture and I'm gonna pour it into my mold. You don't need to oil these. And this is where you can just keep it, you know, the straight up mixture. And look, I'm only going like half full. You know, I don't really want to make really big, thick hearts. They might be a little hard to bite into. I'm making thinner ones. But this is where if you want to mix some of these dry ingredients into the white chocolate mixture, you can do that. I'm going to put mine more on top, but that's just an option. So it's really kind of a personal choice. Now keep in mind that the silicone mold can be a little hard to move around, so that's why I have it on a cutting board that I'm going to place in my refrigerator all together, where you just want some hard, smooth surface underneath it, just so that you can easily transfer it to the refrigerator to chill. This is the fun part where you get to play and decorate them a little. So I'm just going to put a little pinch of some hemp hearts on top. And if you want everything to kind of stick more just to the surface, you know, you can always wait till they cool a little bit. The more they cool, the more it will just sort of float on the surface, like these ones on the end. You can see the difference. Whereas these, it kind of sank into the mixture a little bit. I chopped these up so they were smaller pieces, but you can put whole ones if you like. You can also put freeze-dried raspberries or strawberries. You could put cacao nibs, shredded coconut. And see how those are, again, they're sinking into the mixture a little bit. If you want them to kind of float more on top, just wait till they're a little bit more cool. Cranberries. I like how these almost look like rose petals, you know, on the white chocolate. It's gonna look really pretty. These are, you know, a little larger. If you want to, you can take a scissors and cut them up if you want them a little smaller, but I think they look. Okay, now we're going to carefully take this whole tray and put it in the refrigerator for 2 to 4 hours. So once your hearts have set up, or your bark, you're going to just pop it out of the mold, or in the case if you have made the bark, you would just want to break it up into pieces. But here we have these pretty finished hearts, and that's where a nice little box like this goes really well. And I love these silicone molds because you can just pop them right out. You can see they look so pretty as a gift. It's up to you how much of the dried herb you want to use, but I'm going to go ahead and use at least 2 sprigs, and you want it completely submerged under the oil. So if you have to just break off a piece, that's fine. Remember, we're going to be straining this out later anyway. Pop on a lid, and now you'll want to let it sit in a cool place for 2 to 4 weeks. Some people say to put it in the sun to help infuse the fragrance into the oil, but I like to keep it in a cool, dark place because I don't like exposing my oils to heat and sunlight. By the way, this is the same method you would use if you want to make a culinary oil. You just wouldn't use the almond oil, you would want to use just strictly a culinary oil like extra virgin olive oil. So after 2 to 4 weeks, you're going to want to put some fresh dried sprigs into your jar that you're using to bottle it. And these have given all they've got to this mixture, so we're going to strain these out, and I'm going to carefully pour in the infused oil into our gift jar. I'm taking a chance here, but you may want to use a funnel just to make sure this goes a little more smoothly. And you just want enough to, you know, cover up the fresh sprig of dried rosemary. So at this point, if you want to add some extra essential oils just for some nice fragrance, you can go ahead and do that. I've got this clary sage essential oil. I'm just going to add a few drops, maybe like 3 or 4 for that amount of oil. And just a couple drops of the rosemary essential oil. Then pop the lid on. Feel free to tie some pretty ribbon around it, and you've got a beautiful massage oil as a gift for your Valentine. All right, so to make our bath bombs, we got a lot of fun stuff going on here. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but don't be intimidated. It's a fun process. I know you're gonna love it, and the results are just awesome. So to make our bath bombs, in this bowl, I have 1/2 cup of baking soda. I'm going to add 1/4 cup of organic cornstarch. I like to use organic just to get the best quality ingredients possible. 1/4 cup of Epsom salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of natural food dye. This is the decorative food colors from nature. I love all their different colors. They've got blue, pink, and yellow, and they're really pretty. I'm going to stir all this together and make sure it's thoroughly combined. You can use a fork or a whisk. Now I'm going to combine my wet ingredients. So here I have 2½ teaspoons of pure jojoba oil, or you can also use melted coconut oil or castor oil or almond oil. I'm going to add the jojoba oil to this little jar that has some water in it. This is a ½ teaspoon of water. Since I'm making a yellow bath bomb, I could go with lemon or grapefruit. I'm going to go with the grapefruit just because I've been making a lot of lemon lately, but I love the Acacia essential oils. This is 1/2 teaspoon of essential oil. I'm going to place the lid on my jar and shake vigorously. The one ingredient I haven't added yet is the citric acid. That's kind of the magic ingredient that makes bath bombs fizzy, and we're waiting to add this until we've mixed the wet and the dry together. Pour the wet ingredients into the dry and mix together, making sure that you get every last drop. I know it might seem funny to really just like shake the heck out of this jar, but every drop counts. This is very scientific. What you're going for here is the consistency of wet beach sand. But it's a fine line. You really don't want it too wet. If you follow these measurements, you should be fine. I tried a lot of bath bomb recipes on YouTube, and many of them didn't work out, I have to say. So I really nailed this down to precise measurements that if you follow, this should work out for you. So you can even get in there with your hand and just mix it around and make sure that it's really well incorporated. Now, depending on the humidity and other factors, you can just check to see if this is starting to stick together. And if it doesn't seem like it's holding together well enough, you can go back and add a few more drops of the jojoba oil. I'm going to add just a tiny bit more just to make sure that this really binds well together. At this point, I'm going to add the citric acid. And you'll just want to work that in quickly so that the citric acid does not get activated by the moisture in the recipe. That's why we wait until the last minute to add it, so that it doesn't start fizzing. We also have very little moisture in this recipe, only a ½ teaspoon of water, and the rest of the moisture is coming from oil. Basically, you just want to get the mixture to the point where you can squeeze it together with your hand and it kind of keeps its shape like this. I have ready a plastic tray that's lined with a little bit of parchment, and this is where I'm going to put the bath bomb to dry once I form it. I'm using a stainless steel mold, but you can also use a plastic one if you prefer. The idea is to scoop up a generous amount of the mixture in both halves, and then we're going to tightly push them together. So tight, 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 really squeeze the heck out of it. Then we're going to very gently and carefully take 1/2 off and the other half off, and you have a beautiful, perfectly formed bath bomb. Now it just needs to dry, so we're going to very gently place it on our plastic tray and just let it sit in a place where it's not going to get moved or bumped or be exposed to any moisture for about 48 hours until it's nice and dry. So usually with this recipe you can get about 2 smaller sized, not like the really big bath bombs, but like kind of a moderate size bath bomb. You know what, I'm even going to put a little bit extra into this other half here and just reshape it just to make sure, because it seemed to kind of fit together a little too easily. I want it to be a little bit more packed so that it's really kind of almost gushing out the middle. That's when you know you have enough. I'm going to have a little bit left over, but we're going to make another recipe making some blue bath bombs, so I can always use the leftover to make even like a half of a bath bomb. And of course, if you want more bath bombs, you can always double the recipe. These smell so nice. So if you see a little extra set of hands, my daughter's joining me to make the blue bath bombs. So what we have here is the same as before, where we have a ½ cup of the baking soda, 1/4 cup of Epsom salts, 1/4 cup of organic cornstarch, and 1/4 teaspoon of the decorative food colors from nature. This time we're using blue. So first we're going to stir it all together. All right, Anya. All right, Anya, go ahead and stir. All right, so while she's stirring that together, I just want to mention our liquid ingredients, which are pretty similar to what we used the last time for the yellow bath bombs. I have 1/2 teaspoon of water, 1/2 teaspoon of, this time I'm using lavender oil, 2.5 teaspoons of our jojoba oil, or you can also use the castor oil or almond oil. So I'm going to use this empty plastic Christmas ornament shape to make another bath bomb. Same idea, where you just want to pack it really tightly, squeeze it together. Just tap it a little bit to release it. And there you go, a beautiful blue bath bomb. I had a little bit left over of each color, but not quite enough to make one full bath bomb. What I'm going to do is take the two colors combined and press them to make a little semicircle bomb. There we go, not as big, but just as fun. I'm going to set these in a dry area to dry for 48 hours. Once your bath bombs have finished drying, there are many options as far as cute packaging and little gift boxes, or pretty little gift bags. And if you're going with the box option, you can arrange them with some colorful tissue paper and some pretty ribbon, and they make a beautiful gift. Once your bath bombs have finished drying, you can package them in these pretty bags that we mentioned earlier. And then 4 of them goes really nicely in a little box like this, and you just tie it at the top, or something like this that even has literally a heart window on it. You can't get much more Valentine's themed than this. So I hope this gave you some inspiration for some fun DIY Valentine's Day themed gifts that you can make. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on any other fun cooking videos.